So this tank is a little over a year old now, and it's been a really enjoyable tank to have. It's quite straightforward. One or two things that could be improved. The elephant in the room is this Peace Lily. I bought it thinking it was some sort of micro or dwarf Peace Lily. Completely wrong. Turns out it was just a Peace Lily, probably a bit pot bound in a small pot. Maybe even a juvenile Peace Lily, don't know. Since I've planted it in here, it has absolutely romped away. I am taking off leaves regularly, but still it's just causing all sorts of problems. It's just too big a plant for this setup really, which is a shame. But there is a plant in the bottom that is really happy, and I'm quite impressed with how well it's gotten on. Now I always get the name a little bit wrong, so it's called Schismatoglottis praetoi, I think. And it looks like a nubius, and it can be treated like an epiphyte and planted on rocks and wood and stuff, but this one can actually go in the substrate, and it seems quite happy. I've grown it in a tank with CO2 and it's happy. I've grown it in here with virtually no light and it's also happy. I think it's just a bit of a robust quality plant, so I'll definitely be using that again in other setups. But I think it's time for a bit of a refresh. I really enjoy having immersed growth in this tank, but this Peace Lily, like I've just said, it's just too big. So I'm going to have a little bit of a rethink. If you can suggest any sort of plants that might do well in a shallow tank coming out of the top, let me know in the comments below. I'd really appreciate your suggestions. But yeah, I think it's time for a refresh and a bit of a rethink. Also, some sad news. I had a better fish in here, Barry. He recently passed away. And I think that's another reason why I want to change things up. I don't think I'll put another better fish in here again. I will keep it to a shoal of small little fish. I will be adding snails and some cherry shrimp just to help sort of keep things under control and create a bit more of a diverse ecosystem. But what I'm going to put in with regards to fish, I'm not too sure at the moment. So again, if you've got any suggestions, let me know what you think. I'm always open to ideas. But yeah, overall, it's been a great tank. Really enjoyed it. But it's time for something new. I've had a few messages asking for a bit of an update on some of these tanks. I haven't done much filming up here for a long time. Things are a little bit overgrown, but that's okay. There's a reason for that, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But the good thing about having overgrown tanks is that you've got such an increase in plant mass that the plants are doing a lot of the care when it comes to keeping everything okay. With regards to water quality, I'm still doing weekly water changes, probably about 30, maybe 20%. Bit of glass scraping every now and again, bit of a filter clean. But I've kind of let everything go because I'm going to be doing a bit of a harvest and setting up some grow out tanks, just nothing aquascapey, but more on that later. First up, I've got the bowl. This is probably a little over a year old. Big piece of moss growing right there. I've never put moss in this time. The rotala, I think it was H-Ra, has completely taken over and is growing immersed. It's actually flowering at the moment. We've got some nice little lilac flowers growing on that thing. The Java fern, the trident Java fern, is completely overgrown, but it's actually quite stable. The red root, this is, for some reason, I don't know why, but this seems to be the only tank I've got that can actually grow red root floaters and make them red. I've got red root floaters in another tank, but they're just sort of mainly green. So I'm wondering if it's the lack of flow. Anyway, something to think about for the future. But yeah, this one's going to be pulled apart. There's quite a few little crypts and a bit of hair grass I'm going to keep. I'm quite liking this immersed growth of the rotala, so I might think about doing something like that on another tank soon. We shall see. But yeah, so overgrown you can't even see the rock and wood in there, so I'm going to restart. I think I'm not going to use any ferns next time. Might keep it more sort of crypt heavy with some stems in the background. I don't know, a little bit to think about there on that one. But yeah, it's okay. I think it's got quite a lot of Daphnia, small little white creatures that have somehow introduced themselves. I don't know, maybe the eggs are always in water and they've just sort of germinated and, hatched, possibly. I don't know too much about natural creatures like that. But yeah, I guess that would be a food source for something. I think this will only ever be a snail and shrimp tank. Don't think I'd put anything else in something like this. Anyway, next tank. Now we have the rice fish tank. I grew these rice fish from eggs, got them off the internet. There's a video on my channel all about this. I really enjoyed the process. I've got 3, I think one's a platinum, one's an orangey one, and one's got a bit of a funny tummy, but it seems to be doing fine. And again, I've just let this one be. Had quite a problem with green water, but that seems to be sorting itself out now, you know, just time. There's loads of shrimps in this one. But again, as you can see, it's massively overgrown. There's a huge, thick carpet of floating plants on the roof. On the roof? On the surface of the water. And these are red root floaters, but there's nothing red about them. Yeah, let's give you a closer look. The rice fish, let's see if we can get a bit closer up. Look at them. There's 2 of them. Not too sure where the 3rd one is, it'll be in there somewhere. There's a nice dark red cherry. I don't know. Ooh, let's move that, I'll talk about that in a sec. Excuse the glares. It's pretty dark, but you might be able to make out cherries, maybe some babies, but yeah, this thing's, oh, there's a baby there. This tank's absolutely loaded with cherry shrimp, as well as Daphnia as well. What I believe to be Daphnia. Happy to be corrected on that one. But again, we'll be taking this one apart and starting again soon. But a lot of these stem plants and everything like that, I'm going to harvest and put into a grow out tank. There's a couple of crypts in there that I'm particularly keen on keeping as well. And we've got this jug with these tubs. These are little immersed growth bins, just with a couple of those Sansi grow lights on top. I've got some Monte Carlo, some crypts, some mosses. I won't open them up, but they're just to help grow them out, increase stock. And then we've got these last 2 tanks. Now, when I did the Peace Lily shallow tank downstairs, there were some spare stems of Peace Lily, what I believe to be micro or dwarf Peace Lilies. So I just popped the stems in here, the spare ones, because I thought it'd be a waste just to throw them away. And yeah, they've absolutely taken off and completely dominated. They now completely dominate these two tanks, which is a bit of a shame. And again, I've let all the stems and ferns and everything like that completely take over. There are fish in there, they're all completely fine, but yeah, these are going to be taken apart and given a complete new look, new layout, new planting systems. Again, I probably won't use Java ferns again. I think I'm going to start trying to move away from using ferns. Maybe every now and again, but yeah. Overhaul coming soon. So the reason why I've let everything go, ultimately, this room is the spare room in the house and I use it as an office for when I'm working from home. And my children are at the point where they need their own bedroom. So this room is going to become a room for one of my children and I'm having to move out. So I've been letting these things go because the plan is always to redo them. You have to take all of this apart and start again, and that's because of this place. I've been building this studio since last October, November, and it's now ready to move in. I've insulated, I've boarded, I've done all of the boring stuff, I've done the electrics, created lights and everything. It's a wonderful bright room. I've got double aspect windows. I've got my sofa up here, my sofa beds. And I'm now at the point where I can start building units and I'm gonna put my fish tanks on those units. I'll show you in a second, but this is the south facing side behind the camera. I've got a double window and double doors with windows, and underneath that there's gonna be my desk. Along here, I'm gonna build a unit and I'm gonna put my fish tanks on top, and underneath I'll put the grow out tanks that I was talking about earlier. And I also need storage for stuff like bedding for the sofa bed, hardscape, fish stuff. I'm gonna probably build eventually, not straight away, but a couple of shelves here so that I can have some tanks along the bottom or the base of the unit that's going from front to back, and then another shelf here where I can get hopefully 3 cubes on, and then maybe some hardscape on the top level. That's going to be the main focus. I'll have to get some sort of blackout blind for that window there. But yeah, let's show you the rest of the room. So this is the rest of the room. So I've just switched the camera around. The camera wasn't in this corner here on the previous shot. I've now put it in the other corner, directly opposite. So along this one here is the unit I was just describing, and where the camera is now is where it's going to be the shelves up there. So what can we see? So the unit's going to come along here, and this is where I'm going to put my desk because I need somewhere to work from home. So I'll be looking out of that window when I need to give my eyes a break. I'm probably going to put some sort of water storage here, coats, and I haven't decided yet, but I'm probably going to build another unit along this wall here eventually, and that might house a bigger tank for competitions, and probably a dojo for, you know, just trying to get some ideas, playing with stuff before I start trying to put things inside a tank. And I guess that leads on nicely to, you know, what the plan is for this channel going forwards. Realistically, you know, I've got a family, I've got small children, I've got a full-time job. I won't be doing multiple uploads a week. It's far too much. I won't be able to handle that. So I'm thinking around sort of 2, maybe 3 uploads a month. The idea, the intention is to get 12 small to medium tanks in here. And I want to do 1 build a month. And I would like to try and keep each tank going for a year, just so that I can really sort of see it develop over that year. And then do slow recycling. I mean, I think it's really easy to, particularly in this whole sort of YouTube world, to just build a tank, make the video, and then scrap it and build another one sort of 2 months later. But I think I need a bit more of that organic growth, really. I think I'm also going to slow down a bit. I don't think I'm in so much of a rush with it all. So I guess, yeah, just to confirm, the idea is to do 2 videos a month. One will be a build video. I think the other one's going to be a bit more of an informal discussion, vlog, I guess, of just how things are going. Introduce, you know, sort of successes as well as problems that I may be facing. You know, show how things are going, and maybe just like do a bit more sort of cinematic shots of the tanks, telling the story of how things are settling in and growing. I think. I don't know. That's the intention anyway. We'll see how it goes. I've still got quite a bit to do, and like I say, I've got to set up my desk first. That's the first thing I need to do. But getting the sofa in, my wife and I got this up here yesterday, and this really has sort of set the intention for the room. So this week I'm going to build my desk, and then maybe build this unit along here.